Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so Skip, Shannon, let's get to it.
Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft, here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Good morning.
Good morning.
I tried to tell you Jake Paul would beat Tyron Woodley, and he beat him convincingly.
No, stop it.
That young man can box. He can box.
You better stop.
I'm starting. Here we go.
Come on, so convinced.
That is true. Okay, I promise we'll have more there. But, guys, we need to begin by the latest and what is happening in New England. The Patriots closed out their preseason by starting Cam Newton at QB against the Giants. The former MVP went 2 for 5 with a pick before giving way to Mac Jones, who went 10 for 14 with a touchdown. Despite that drastic difference, Bill Belichick still told reporters, quote, "We still have a lot of decisions to make." New England opens the season by hosting Miami on September 12th. Guys, we are getting close. So, Shannon, who starts Week 1?
Cam. Said at the beginning of said it before when they drafted the kid, said it coming out of minicamp.
Although you did say the kid was the readiest to play of all the rookies. Okay.
I still believe that.
All right.
But I still believe Cam Newton's going to start. Skip, if you think about when you look at it, Cam has thrown 21 passes, Mac Jones has thrown 52 passes.
Whew.
I believe Coach Belichick understands and knows what he has in Cam Newton. So he's like, you know what, Cam, I don't need to see you throw that much, but I do need to get the kid ready just in case something happens to you or you falter along the way. What else haven't they done with Cam, Skip? No runs. Cam hadn't run the football. I don't even believe Cam has even scrambled. You know that's going to be a big part of what they do in the run game, a la what the Baltimore Ravens do with Lamar Jackson. They run the football. Sorry about that, J.K. Dobbins. But they run the football with their running back, Skip. But the added dimension is Lamar Jackson. That's what Cam. Remember opening day last year? Cam had like 75 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns.
I mean, he can't run like Lamar runs.
No.
But he is a sledgehammer.
Yes. But he can still get you those 5, 6, 7 yard runs. He ain't going to go like 30,
How
40.
many games can he get you those many runs?
That's the thing.
Okay.
The question is, Skip, is that the leash that Cam had last year, because Coach Belichick knew that he did not have an adequate replacement for Cam Newton. So he was willing to let Cam, go pretty far. I don't believe Cam is going to be allowed to go as far this year as he did last year. Mac Jones is coming, and I believe Mac Jones is going to push Cam and eventually probably take this job over. But he's going to push him throughout the entirety of the year, Skip. Cam cannot rest. In Carolina, Cam knew he was the unquestioned number 1. He came here last year, last second. They signed him, late June? So no preseason games. But the kid looks good. Mac Jones looked really, I was really impressed. He speed reads. He got sacked a bunch, and I think that's something that's going to be concerning.
4 times he went down.
Only went down once in the previous 2 games.
Yep.
But, Skip, I still believe Cam starts. I believe Cam starts. And, Skip, looking at their schedule, Dolphins at home, at Jets, Saints at home, Patriots at home, at Texans, Cowboys, Jets at home. I'm looking at that record. I'm looking at over the first 7 games. I'm thinking 5-2. Is that what you're thinking? Yeah. So I'm going to say...
if that's correct, then Mac Jones is holding the clipboard all year long?
No. Ain't no all year long. 5-2, that's the start of the season. You know, they still got 10 games to go.
So do you think they'll start to crumble after 5-2?
I just wrote down their first 7 games to show that, I mean, when you look at that, Skip, that's...
You didn't mention any Buffaloes in those first.
No, they're not there. They're coming.
All right.
But you get the Jets. You get the Jets twice. The Texans not very much. I mean, obviously the Saints. We'll see how good they're going to be without Drew Brees. You get Patriots in the big return. That's the big game. But they could easily skip in their first 7 games, be 5-2. That's very realistic. It's not like I'm stretching like, man, I'm looking at they could be 5-2 because I know two wins for sure they got on the schedule. That one on week 6. Yeah, that one week 6. That's a show enough dub.
Really?
Yep.
My Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, I didn't know you had scheduled over there too.
I'll give you that one. I think I gave that as a big L for my Cowboys along with Tampa Bay, but we'll talk about that in just a minute.
Oh, Tampa gonna lose too.
Yeah. Okay. Back to Mac versus Cam. It has become the showcase competition of all of the preseason. And I will say this, just eye testing. I've watched every snap Cam's played and every snap the kid has played. And it's, as you said, 52 passes to 21 passes. And it's a whole lot of snaps. I think I have them here somewhere. But again, Mac played 75 snaps to Cam's, 23 snaps.
Yeah.
So you could see where this was heading. But bottom line, Cam started the games that he was there to start.
Right.
Okay, so he was given the respect. Remember what he
demanded loyalty.
Loyalty, I deserve it. Loyalty, I deserve it.
Right.
Well, he got his loyalty, so he got paid the respect of a starter. And it was significant to me that he started this game we'll call it was 3 o'clock here, but it was 6 o'clock there. I'll call it last evening. So the point is, to my eye test, watching these two go at it back and forth, it felt like the kid played a little better than a Cam who played very well. But the kid seemed to play a little better.
Right.
It's hard to balance it all out because the kid played more against backups than Cam played against backups, especially last season.
Well, Cam got the starters for 2 series, and then Mac got the backups until the third quarter.
Okay, but once Mac hit the third quarter, all of a sudden, it seemed like his velocity is improving by the throw. Because remember the first night that he played, that Thursday night? And he looked like, to me, Dak Prescott with a torn shoulder muscle, right? He was throwing puffballs. And then last night, if we could see these first throws right out of the box in the third quarter, this is still Christian Wilkerson. This ball's got a little mustard on it.
Yeah.
That looked like a big NFL throw.
Yeah, it did. It did.
All right. And then we turn right around in that same series, and here's a touchdown pass that also seemed to have some conviction behind it, right?
Yes.
Right up the seam. I like that. And he sat and he threw, and he looked like he was in charge. That's what he looked like.
Right.
And then there was another throw in the next series, a little deeper throw to that I see the tight end that they drafted in the second round last year. And he was under duress, and he back-shouldered to a tight end. Aha!
You remember that throw in the Super Bowl?
I do.
That's the welcome play.
That is that is it. Yeah. Okay. So again, I'm seeing growth.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing a competition that comes down to, okay, we're back to the question we asked on Friday. If one started hypothetically and the other started hypothetically, how many games would each win? Well, that's Belichick's question that he's probably debating in his head as we speak. And I told you I could see Mac winning 10 games to Cam's 9 games. So the question I always have is, I hear everybody say, oh, Cam's going to be on a short leash. What do you mean by short leash? Then it's a negative proposition going in, because is Belichick thinking negatively? I don't think he is, because he's thinking, well, if Cam struggles, I got the kid ready, because I've got him 75 snaps in the preseason, so I got him as ready as I can get him for the inevitable. He will be inserted in game 5 or 6 or 7 or whenever it is.
Well, Skip, it's just like any backup. You want your backup prepared to play just in case something happens. Okay, I don't think Coach Belichick...
That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about the future starter, not the backup.
Yes.
I mean, he's obviously now going to be the backup if, in fact, Cam starts, as you say. And I would lean toward that just by what he indicated yesterday, that Cam did start the game.
Right.
That would indicate he would start game 1 at home against the Dolphins, right? Okay, so my point is, why would you think negatively? If you think that ultimately Mac Jones will be better, he'll help your football team for 17 games, why wouldn't you start him in game 1? That's my question that is unanswerable under your scenario.
I believe it's easy. I believe it's easier to start Cam and go to Mac as opposed to starting Mac going to Cam.
Okay, well, that's impossible, because then you might ruin that kid. Right. Although Belichick doesn't care about ruining anybody. He just does what he does.
And that's why I believe, Skip, they'll start with Cam. Knowing, Skip, there's a situation, does he get COVID again? I mean, there's a lot of different variables here. And Cam, Cam, with the exception of that 2015, since then, there have been games where Cam looked, wow, okay, I see why he won the MVP. And then other games, you're like, Cam, what the hell are you doing? And Coach Belichick is not going to tolerate that this year, Skip, because he didn't have a choice last year but to stomach it, because he had Stids and he had Brian Hoyer. You and I both know weren't going to win him any game. So he's just like, Cam's our best guy. Cam's our best guy. I don't believe we'll keep constantly hear him saying that. Cam's our best guy. Cam's our best guy after loss, after loss, after turnover, after turnover. I don't believe that's going to happen. So that's why I'm saying I still believe Cam starts the season. But what we saw last year, Skip, when Cam against the Broncos, when Cam couldn't move the ball. That's not going to happen. You might have 1 or 2 games like that. The kid's in the bullpen warming up. He's coming in.
Okay.
And when he comes in, he's going to be there to stay.
That's it. Okay. Game over for Cam Newton.
Oh, yeah. Once the kid comes in, Skip, you're not taking him out unless he's injured.
So I'm going to remind you, despite a couple of spectacular early performances, Cam's QBR last year finished 30th of 33 qualified quarterbacks.
Right.
That will not hack it. And off that, he shouldn't be a surefire incumbent starter.
Right.
That's not good enough. That wasn't a job to keep. That's a job to lose, right? You would come to camp trying to hang on to your job as opposed to automatically keeping your job.
Do you believe Coach Belichick actually opened the job up?
It felt that way, and it feels like it was heading that direction. And then, as I've brought up before, we had one after another of expatriate stars and leader stars say it's time to go to Mac in game 1, right? We saw Rodney Harrison, we saw Damian Woody, we saw Ninkovich, or we heard them all say it's Mac Jones' time. It's time to just cut the cord with Cam and go forward. Well, not that that's going to influence Belichick, but that influenced my thinking because I think it influenced Patriot Nation's thinking.
I think the thing is, Skip, Cam has got to find a middle ground. Cam's high are really high. His lows are really low. There is no in-between in his game. You saw him play well those 2 or 3 games. You're like, oh, my God, look at Cam. And then when you saw him play bad, at some point you got to find a middle ground. You can't be way up or way down. Can we find a middle ground that when you don't play as well as you know you can we be somewhere in the middle and not just bottom out?
Okay, I agree with that. And yet, Mac Jones' high will not be nearly as high as any of those Cam games early last year, especially the one at Seattle when he threw for 397.
Right.
I don't believe Mac Jones is capable at this moment in his life of throwing for 397 yards. They have improved their receivers, but not like Tampa Bay's receivers, right?
No.
Okay, so what Mac Jones would give you this year is his lows will never be as low as Cam's were last year, right? Where he would be much more consistent because he played on big stages. I don't think this stage will be too big for him. I don't think the comparisons to Brady will bother him one bit. He just sort of plays within himself and does what he does.
Right.
A la young Tom Brady.
Right.
Okay, so I'm not saying he'll ever be even close to Brady, but he all of his attributes are Brady-esque.
Right.
He'll be better at dinking and dunking. He'll be better at just running the offense at a conservative clip without throwing too many bombs away kind of bombs. And he will ball control, drive it, and execute at a very high, consistent clip. That's who he is. That's what he was at Alabama.
Right.
He utilized weapons that he won't quite have this year. But again, his ceiling will be here, so Cam's up here, but it'll stay right there the whole year.
But here's the thing, Skip. What happened in yesterday's game? How many times did he get sacked?
It was a big deal.
So what do you think they're going to...
He said after the game, he said, I got to work on it. I was holding it too long because I believe he was trying to flat out close the deal, win the job, and he was pressing a little more to make the throw that would catch Coach's eye, Josh McDaniel's eye, to say, you know what? That kid's just flat out ready to be the starter.
And what do we see most of the time, Skip, when rookies start? They dial them up. They heat them up. Because we're gonna show you because we gave you all that vanilla stuff in the preseason. Now we finna give you this biscuit and gravy. As Kwame Brown says, some of mama's cooking. That's what we're about to give you this Sunday. That's what we're about to give you next Sunday. So the question is, Skip.
We got a Kwame Brown reference right in the middle of a Belichick discussion.
Some of mama's cooking. Now you know Miami. Now that's a Coach Belichick protege, a disciple. He gonna bring heat.
He will. That's what he does.
He gonna bring heat.
Okay.
They got 2 guys they can put on the island and say, we're gonna come get you, Mac Jones. And he can't get anywhere, Skip. That's the thing. Of all the quarterbacks, I said he was most ready to play, but he's the least athletic of all the guys that got drafted in the first round.
I don't think he's unathletic.
No. He's the least.
Okay.
He doesn't have what Trevor Lawrence can run.
He can run.
Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, all those guys, Skip. Trey Lance.
You didn't mention Trey Lance.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Those guys are more athletic than Mac.
Okay, I got it. So of all the games on this year's schedule, and you mentioned it a little while ago, what game would Belichick circle if he could win one the most? What would mean the most to him? Well, quite obviously, it'd be the 4th game on a Sunday evening at Foxborough Tom Brady's return. So which of these two quarterbacks gives him right here, right now, the best chance to beat Tom Brady? It would be Cam, and I would agree with that. I still say Mac can win a game or two more than Cam would over the long haul of this 17-game season. But I would agree early on, it's the fourth game of the year as opposed to the 10th or 12th game. So I agree that maybe he's clinging to the notion of, I got a little better chance to beat him with Cam than I do with Mac. Although Mac is now considered the next Tom Brady, the new Tom Brady. And Mac is a steal in the draft just the way Brady was. It's just relative to how he got him because he fell to only 15th in the first round. But that was quite a plummet.
And a lot of people, and the thing is that what the 49ers had to give up to get their guy. Coach Belichick stood pat at 15 and got a guy that didn't have to give up any draft capital.
I agree. And again, it's not stealing Tom Brady in the 6th round, but it effectively gives him somebody he picked that he stole that could be his next quote-unquote Brady. So in the long haul, that's going to mean the most to Belichick is to show the world, I drafted this kid, and this kid can be as good as that guy, that 44-year-old in Tampa Bay.
You're right. You mentioned the Patriots, and what does the Patriots defense do? They get after your quarterback.
Listen, they can rush the passer. I'm impressed with what I'm seeing.
And if you think about it, look at how they had Mahomes running for his life in the Super Bowl. Look at what they did to Aaron Rodgers up in Lambeau Field. Look at what they did to Drew Brees ultimately. Skip, they can get after your quarterback. Do you really want to subject your rookie to that kind of situation? I think it's going to do it. Todd Bowles is coming. He knows that's a rookie quarterback. He knows that he hadn't seen all the things. He's not where he needs to be mentally as far as the pro game. So I believe at the bare minimum, you're going to see Cam for the quarter pole until and then at the Texans, Skip, come on. Texans might be one of the two worst teams.
Okay, but here's the problem with your scenario. If you say 5-2, that has 5-2 written all over. Yes. Or you're going to replace Cam at 5-2?
No.
So what?
Skip, here's the thing, Skip. Cam decides when Mac Jones plays. Cam, you play well, you keep your job. You don't play well, Mac's coming in. It's really that simple, Skip. It really is. Cam Newton will decide when we see Mac Jones. If he plays like I believe Cam can play, well, Mac Jones not going to see the field.
Okay.
But if he doesn't play like we think he can play, Mac Jones coming in.
Okay. Well, if in fact Bill Belichick is a genius, as you say that he is, and I'm not so sure.
Yeah, he is.
Okay. If he's genius, then the genius will have a plan in place where he looks down the 17 games and says, it'll probably be game 8 or 9, whatever it is, that Mac is my new, he's the future. He comes in at that point, and that's the end of Cam Newton. Okay. If that's the plan, that's like a negative plan because that is predicting Cam's downfall at some point.
Well, here's the thing, Skip. I believe Coach Belichick was probably thinking, you know what? The kid, let's see, hopefully he can keep it afloat until Drew gets back. But the kid just kept getting better and better and better. And then when Drew got back, Drew couldn't get his job. Well, the thing is, if Cam keeps playing good, well, Mac can't get the job. But if Cam doesn't play good, Mac's going to get the job. It's really that simple. It's not a negative impact. Skip, you got to, especially at that position, you got to have a plan, especially when it's not, like you said, it's not a clear-cut incumbent. It's not like one of these other guys or somebody else that has the job, or Mahomes or Rodgers. Even, I give another example, in New Orleans. If Jameis doesn't play well, you know Taysom Hill is coming in, Skip. It's not like it's etched in stone that Jameis is the starter for the rest of the season. This isn't etched in stone that Cam Newton will be the New England Patriots starter for the rest of the season. His play is going to determine how long he plays.
So what are the odds that Cam Newton at age 32 just keeps the kid on the bench all this year and goes into next year as the incumbent starter?
I don't believe no matter what Cam does, he can keep him on the bench next year.
Really?
No.
Okay, well, why not? If he's that good, I don't get what that's like another negative plan. Like you're predicting the end of Cam.
Just like we saw with Patrick Mahomes. You do realize that Alex Smith won the division. It didn't matter. At that point in time, there was nothing else he could do. I believe Mac Jones gets a couple of reps up on his belt. It's over. Skip, you didn't draft the kid. Okay, you got 1 year. And that's what normally happens, Skip. You get a 1 year grace period with a starting quarterback, especially if you draft him in the first round and he doesn't start his rookie year. Once he's coming in, just like Ryan Fitzpatrick, We was like, well, Ryan Fitzpatrick played really well. Why wouldn't they go with him? And no. Once Tua got his feet on the field and they was like comfortable, it's it. Okay. That's it. Cam gets 1 year in New England, another year in New England. That's
so
it.
Bottom line, you're telling me that Mac Jones will soon be a better quarterback than Cam will ever again be. That's what you just said. He'll soon be better than Cam will ever again be in his career.
Well, no,
right?
Skip. They don't. Here's the thing. Like you said that you believe that Coach Belichick would rather beat Tom Brady with Mac Jones. Yep. Although you said you do believe that Cam gives them a better chance of winning the match.
Just because he's been there and done all that. He played in the Super Bowl. He didn't play great in the Super Bowl, but he knows that stage, and I don't think he'll come apart on that stage.
The question is, who did Coach Belichick draft to be the heir apparent?
Yep.
He signed Cam off the strap heap.
Stopgap. That's what that was. And it was a pretty good stopgap for a while.
You got a former MVP that's very motivated, although he's coming off of shoulder surgery, but he's very motivated. He's played well in this league. Okay, I don't believe Coach Belichick thought he was going to be in position to get Mac Jones. All indication that Mac Jones was going to be gone by the time Coach Belichick. And then what does Coach Belichick do? If Mac Jones is not there at 15, what does Coach Belichick do? Well, now I'm sitting pretty like, man, I thought I was going to have to give up some draft capital, and then here's Mac Jones just sliding, and next thing I know, I catch him out the sky and falls in my arms out the sky.
He did. Yep. After you tried to sell us Stiddy, Jared Stidham, right?
Well, you know Stiddy wasn't there.
No.
Because Cam had some games in which he didn't play well last year, and no matter how bad he played, Stiddy wasn't getting any play.
He was not.
So I still believe Skip. I still believe Cam starts, but
you think his clock is ticking?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what the rest of his career is going to look like if, in fact, he loses this job.
Well, Skip, it's hard. Skip, once you are an etched-in-stone starter, it's hard for you to, just pick up jobs because now people just review you. Like Joe Flacco. Look at Joe Flacco, Skip. Joe Flacco won the Super Bowl. He was Super Bowl MVP. But look at it. Bounce to Denver, bounce to the Jets. Now he's in Philly. How people?
By the way, so is Gardner Minshew, which means I think Joe Flacco just lost the backup job.
And then tried to convince us it was a real competition.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's the question, Skip. Will he ever be viewed as a starter again, or maybe just a bridge or a stopgap?
I don't know at this point. Jake Paul, well, he beat Tyron Woodley by split decision in their boxing match last night in Cleveland. The former UFC fighter was already looking for a rematch afterward, and the YouTube sensation agreed under one condition, that Woodley get the I Love Jake Paul tattoo they bet before the fight. Paul improved his professional record to 4-0 with the victory, much to the chagrin of Woodley's fans on social media. So, Shannon, how impressive was Jake Paul?
Skip, I wasn't impressed at all. I give him credit. He won the fight. I do think he won the fight. I thought he was a little more active, if you can say that. I mean, Woodley threw 6 punches in round 1, 8 punches in round 2. So he really set himself back. I think the thing is that Jake Paul needs to continue to fight guys that have less boxing experience than him. Woodley really didn't understand how to string punches together. He'd throw the right, didn't follow it up with the left hook. He'd throw the left hook. He wouldn't throw the right, lead right. So he really understand how to string punches together. And by the end of the fight, I thought both fighters were gassed. But for me, Skip, look, it shows the state of what boxing is. And people want to see a fight so bad that they're watching two guys, one guy's a YouTuber, the other guy's a retired MMA guy fight, because boxing won't give them the fights that we really want to see. And we know what the fights are. Skip, a 42-year-old Manny Pacquiao and Ugas. That's not the fight that we wanted to see. They want to see Bud Crawford. They want to see Errol Spence. That's what they want to see. And that's why, people, all of a sudden, they love UFC and been loving it for a while, is that you're going to get the fights that you want, Skip. Ain't no ducking and dodging. And what has happened to me, what it looks like to me, Skip, is that everybody is more worried about undefeated. Don't know, I can't lose. So everybody's trying to be Floyd Mayweather. Come on, guys, stop this. This is not what boxing is meant to be. Fight. But when I look at this, Skip, come on. Paul landed 79 punches, although Woodley landed more of the power shots. Look, what it was is what it thought it would be. I don't look at this as like, oh, man, I'm expecting to see some great boxing. I take it for what it is, Skip. That's what I do. I take it for what it is. Therefore, I'm not going to be disappointed. But Jake Paul is okay for doing what he's doing, but you and I both know he's not beating anybody This was a catchweight at 190. He's not beating anybody that has any boxing experience at that weight. 0 people.
Okay, my turn. I was impressed with what I saw last night, and I was way more into it than you sound like you were into.
Yeah.
I was fascinated by this matchup because maybe there is a dearth of boxing, and maybe I was spoiled through the glory years of Ali when I covered all the great Ali matches against Frazier and Foreman and Norton and name them.
Yeah, but Skip, you was covering sports in the 80s when you had the 4 Kings.
It was great.
Yes.
And I was there at every one of them. I still found this fascinating because I find Jake Paul fascinating, that he was some Disney kid star and then he became a social media phenomenon and a YouTube star. And at 21 years of age, going on 22, he decided, you know what? I'm going to try to box. It is hard to box, as you know, as he found out last night.
Right.
Because it takes it out of you quick. And he was not prepared physically for the onslaught of what was about to happen.
Right.
So what did I see? He's going up against a Tyron Woodley who's 39 years of age. But trust me on this. He is a hand-to-hand combat warrior. He is a tough guy through and through from Ferguson, Missouri. Who took this fight personally. You could see after the fight, he does not like Jake Paul. And he took it very, very seriously personally that somebody hurled some insults from Jake's camp at his mom at the press conference 3 days back, right?
Yeah.
Not the weigh-in, but the press conference. And that diatribe from Tyron after the press conference was legit, like, I'm going to take these people out of here. I'm going to make them disappear.
Right.
And I think he badly wanted to make Jake Paul disappear last night. Obviously, he's not a skilled boxer, but it's not that he has no boxing skills because he was a decent striker, not a great striker.
Yeah, he's more of a wrestler.
Well, he was a college wrestling champ, obviously. But the point is, this was not easy for Jake Paul. And he got thrown into the limelight in his home area of Cleveland, obviously, and it looked sold out to me. They announced a sellout.
16,000.
Look, I'm only looking on TV, pay-per-view.
Cavaliers wish they could get that kind of crowd.
That is correct, but it looked like every seat was filled to me, and the crowd got into it, and it was like crazy.
Yeah, Chappelle in the house.
I got it. I'm with you. I thought the whole night was electric.
Yeah.
I was into it. The more I watched, the better I liked it.
Right.
So what did I see for the first 3 rounds? I saw Jake Paul dominate this fight slowly but surely. They both kind of eased into it in the first round because I think neither was quite sure what to make of each other. And Tyron said after the fight, he said, we knew he could take a punch, that he was not going to go down. That was a quote from Tyron. So they had that much respect for a young Jake Paul. Again, he's fairly athletic, but what I started to see early on, because this was his first true test, remember, he beat a YouTuber in his first fight. He beat little Nate Robinson, who has no earthly idea how to box. And then he beat Ben Askren, who is a retired MMA fighter, who looked very retired, right?
Skip, who, like me, was coming out hip replacement.
That's what I'm saying. That was joke. This was no joke for a young boxer who's just trying to figure it out.
Right.
He does have some boxing skills because the irony of Jake Paul last night was all of his damage is here. It's all he was much better with his left. His left is quick and it has pop to it. And he landed it consistently, and that's a boxer's tool to me, because if you don't know how to box and you're right-handed, you're just going to throw it from over here. You're roundhouse. You're just going to throw it from the canvas as hard as you can throw it. And when he did throw his right, it looked a little awkward to me, and it shocked me. I didn't see a lot of knockout power in the right, because against Askren, in the first round, he caught him with the straight right and just absolutely decked him.
I mean, but you see that a lot, Skip. Inexperienced, the guys, and they watch boxing like, I'm going to throw the overhand right.
I can do it. I can throw it.
But the jab is the easier punch.
Okay, so, but it's more of a technician's. They call boxing the sweet science, and it's a scientist's punch.
Right.
Because he was doing all of his scoring damage with that left jab. Not a left hook, it's just a jab, and it was quick.
But that's the thing, Skip. Just think about he's landing with the jab. A boxer is going to come with the right.
Okay, I got it. He is a novice boxer.
Correct.
But he shows some boxing skills. So what happens in round 4? he starts to showboat because it's in his blood, because that's who he is, and he's a great self-promoter. We had him on the show. I think basically he's a good-hearted kid, but he's got to put on a show, so he starts playing to the crowd, and he starts bolo punching and doing all this stuff. And all of a sudden, as he said after the fight, my legs got a little wobbly because it's hard, man. You're sweating. He was sweating from round one profusely. And I think his legs were starting to wobble a little bit. And he started dropping his guard a little bit. And what got him first was the left hook from Tyron. Because Tyron's got to come from a little down here because he's a shorter man. But he came up with the left hook, and he got him up under the chin, and it rocked him. So again, Tyron's like jump left hooking, and so he jumped into him, and I thought it was a little bit of a push shot. So he falls back into the ropes, and the ropes did save him from actually going all the way down onto the canvas.
Oh, he hit it. That was the overhand. Caught it with an overhand on that one.
Okay, but the first punch that gets
right there,
that was But he got him first with the left hook, and that's what staggered him a little bit. And then the overhand right sort of hit him upside the head, but he didn't get him in the jaw. So then the rest of that round is spent. Jake Paul has got to dance his way out of trouble and just stay out of harm's way. And he did a pretty good job of, now you can also criticize Tyron that he didn't go for the kill.
Right, and you would think, Skip, as an MMA guy, Ty Woodley knows how to cut the ring off.
He knows.
He's cut the cage off on several occasions.
Well, he was the stalker the whole night anyway.
So he understands how to cut the cage off, but because he's not an experienced boxer or a striker, Skip, he doesn't know how to walk a guy into a punch. And so he didn't understand, like, cut the ring off. Like I said, give Jake Paul credit, Skip. He probably made Ty Woodley more money than he's made in any UFC one fight. I heard he took less money in this, so everybody on the undercard can make more money than they ever made. Kudos. He's getting guys paid that would have never gotten paid. I give him credit for that, Skip. But if he's thinking about stepping up in class and fighting people that actually know how to box, even if they're in their late 30s, Skip, he's in for a rude awakening.
Okay, so let's deal with this before we get to that.
Okay.
So afterward, in the ring, the two of them are in there being interviewed, and it goes back and forth, and all of a sudden, Ty Woodley is saying, I got robbed, basically. And there were those I was just watching what was trending on Twitter who were saying rigged because he was going down and got saved by the ropes. I just, listen, one judge scored the whole fight for Woodley, and his name is Phil Rogers, the judge. I don't know. It was like 77 to 75, one judge. I have no idea. I had Jake Paul winning convincingly going to the last two rounds when he just played defense and tried not to run out of gas. That's what he was trying to do, just stay up and avoid that one big roundhouse.
But I thought you told me the fight should go to the aggressor. Who was the aggressor in the fight?
Okay, he was stalking, but then he wasn't punching. The aggressor in the fight consistently was Jake Paul because he would pick his spots, and with a little flurry, he was winning the early rounds because his combinations were not bad. Flurry combinations were bop, and all of a sudden he'd get him a couple times good. Neither man hurt the other man ever except for the one punch that stung. That was the one shot. But was Tyron Woodley ever staggered? No, he wasn't staggered. Nor was Jake Paul hurt at all as far as his face afterwards is a little reddish, but there were no cuts. There was no real marking going on. So the point was that I thought he won the fight easily. And then all of a sudden Ty Woodley saying afterwards, well, I think I won the fight and let's do it again. Well, Jake Paul's just dumbfounded, like, I gave you your shot and you lost. Well, just me as a pay-per-view, I paid the freight, like, what was it, $60?
Yeah, $59.95. Yeah, $59.95, I think.
Okay, so I paid the freight. I would be hard-pressed to pay the freight again for a rematch of these two because I saw enough. I do think that Jake Paul's a little better boxer than Ty Woodley at 39 is going to get to be. So I don't need to see these two again, but I'm curious to see how far he can go. Because I'm going to remind you, when we had Jake Paul on this show, he's talking about Canelo. And I'm like, okay, it's a grand dream, you know, like, wait, you're dreaming big, but he is about 500,000 miles from Canelo right now because he would get hurt by Canelo because there's just too much he doesn't understand. And I'm not sure I saw enough hand quickness for him to go that high. But can he box? Okay, so on the undercard last night was one Tommy Fury, who is the half-brother of you-know-who Fury, and he's also obviously British. And he's now 7-0 at age 22. I did not watch that. I watched the women fight.
Right.
It was a really good
Right.
battle. I don't know if you watched any of Mercado versus Serrano.
No.
But Mercado just hung in and just fought her guts out. But whatever. Then the trainer for Serrano said she didn't fight. Yeah, she did. She took you the distance.
Right.
So, but the point was, I did not tune in time to see Tommy Fury, but there's a lot of projections. Would he fight that? Okay, now this is a boxer who's coming from a boxing family. This is not an MMA fighter,
Right.
okay? What do you think? Would you watch it? Yeah, I'd watch it.
Skip, Jake Paul should not fight someone, Skip, that's as young as he is and more experienced in the game of boxing than he is.
Okay.
That's a recipe for disaster. This works because the guys that he are fighting are less experienced than he is in the boxing ring.
Okay, but they are men.
Yeah.
Listen, Ty Woodley is a fighter by nature. I just think he's he's one of those cold-blooded, I will kick your you-know-what fighters. But he tried everything he could to
win. He wanted to win,
yes,
of course. But Skip, here's the thing. All combat sports aren't equal. Judo requires something different than karate, which requires something different than taekwondo. So just because someone is good in those disciplines, that doesn't mean they're going to be good at boxing. A boxer isn't necessarily because he does a combat sport, doesn't mean he's going to be good at MMA. Just like Floyd. Okay, Floyd beat Conor in boxing. He's not going to go a minute with Conor in the octagon. Even though they're combat sports, they're two different combat sports, two different disciplines.
I got it.
So I look at Jake Paul. He should not fight someone as young as he is, more experienced in boxing, because in that case, Skip, they understand how to string punches and understand how to walk him into punches.
All right, so Jake Paul said after the fight, I didn't fight my best tonight. I give myself a C-. It's my first time fighting in front of a big crowd since my first amateur fight. Okay, so I think he learned a lot. We learned he can take a punch because he did take one and he lived to tell about it. And by the way, the fifth round, the next round, he came back and won that round to me and won it pretty convincingly. So it wasn't like that did him in. You know what? He lived to tell after taking that shot. And I think it was great experience for him in front of a big crowd on pay-per-view to get smacked and live to tell about it.
But Skip, I just think the thing is, boxers know how. They don't wind up. It's pow, pow.
I got it.
It's the short, crisp punches that you don't see. They throw punches that you can't see. See, those wind-up looping punches, guys see those things coming from a mile away. It's the stuff that you don't see that gets you up out of there.
I think Jake throws a few that you can't see with that left.
Skip, I'm not saying these guys should be like Tyson. Everybody know Tyson throw the hook to the body and then the uppercut. We don't expect that kind of, but Skip, look, I take it for what it is. These are two guys that don't really have a boxing background that was in there and fans are gravitating to this. Skip, we're going to see more of this because boxing won't give us what we really want to see.
Okay, but is it not interesting? Yeah, it's interesting.
No,
I want to see how high he can go. How high can he climb?
You know how high he can go.
You know, I don't think anybody will work any less than he works at it. I think he goes after it.
But Skip, there's limits to this, okay? He's only, you know that. There's a reason why, you know, your gas, your speedometer, it might have, that's as fast as your car can go. If you got 108 on your speedometer, it ain't gonna go 300. There's only so high Jake Paul's going to go.
Might be the exception to that rule.
No, that. You better be glad. You better be glad I got rid of my car because I had something for you.
You had nothing.
I had something for you.
I think I might have the fastest car on the road right now.
Yeah, at 4 o'clock in the morning, you do.
That's true. And I'm unopposed.
No one to race against. You're winning that one, Skip. You are. I promise you that. Guys, amid reports that Dak Prescott looked erratic in recent practice, the Cowboys went out and lost their preseason finale in which none of their starters played. Dallas was even without their primary play caller as offensive coordinator Kellen Moore was given the day off. And afterward, Mike McCarthy turned his team's attention to week one, saying, quote, I mean, not to be Captain Obvious, but it's full steam ahead to Tampa. So, Shannon, how ready will Dallas be for Tampa Bay?
They could have 100 more practices. They could have played their starters 25 reps. They're not beating Tampa on Thursday night. And Skip, you know, I heard, I think it was McCarthy that said, we're going to do everything we possibly can to make sure Dak is ready for Tampa. Why you got to do all that? I thought he was 100%. I thought he was good. Why must you do every single thing possible to make sure he's ready? Oh, that's what happens when the injury is more serious than you lead us to believe, and 3 days turn into a month. Nothing changed for me, Skip. And they said, well, he looked a little rusty. I expect him to look rusty. Skip, he hadn't thrown a pass in a team setting in 11 months.
Yeah.
So what did you expect me to do? Just Dak to come out there and just start throwing darts? There's a big difference when a quarterback's throwing 7-on-7 or he's throwing to a pat and go to receiver, Skip, and there's no pass rush and there's no DBs that are defending his receivers. So of course Dak's going to look good. But what happens when you put those guys out there? Now all of a sudden say, well, Dak looked rusty. He looked, he was off kilter. What did you expect? The guy hadn't thrown in the team setting in 11 months. Professionals have to practice too, Skip. You just don't put down something and just go to it. There's a reason why we practice. So I'm not surprised. And another thing, Skip, remember I told you, I said, Skip, I needed preseason. I missed a preseason game, stretched for a pass, threw my back out, missed. And even though I had been practicing, even missing that game and then coming back, I felt sluggish. I felt lethargic. I've been like, man, my leg felt like I was running in cement. I can just imagine missing the entire preseason and going out there in a game when the game actually matters and say, you know what, I'm going to be at my absolute best. I just don't see how Dak's going to do it. But I wish him all the best because y'all going to need it. But I still don't believe that shoulder. I still believe they're holding back, Skip. I don't think that shoulder is as healthy as they're leading us to believe.
Ditto, which is why I believe that my team shouldn't be getting ready for Tampa. I think my team should have spent all last week getting ready for at Chargers in week 2. September 19th at Chargers is when my season starts because at Tampa Bay, September 9th, Thursday night, solo stage, no shot. This is the absolute worst way to get ready for that game.
Right.
So as I reflect on what I went through this past weekend, I was spellbound by it. I was mystified. I was flabbergasted. I was gobsmacked right between the eyes as I watched Tom Brady at age 44 on Saturday evening. I watched him play the first 3 series of the game at Houston, and he goes 11 of 14 for 154 yards and a touchdown. He's 44 years of age. So overnight, it was almost like Christmas Eve to me. I'm thinking, gee, I just know Jerry's got a present for us because it started at 10 a.m. on Sunday morning here. I just really believe that Jerry would come to his senses and play Dak 2 or 3 series yesterday. It's Jerry world. Just do it against Jacksonville. Just let him play 2 or 3 series. Again, to your point, you got to play the offensive line. You got to play some, if not, maybe you don't play Zeke, but you play Tony Pollard.
Right, okay.
You play your receivers.
Right.
Just let them get their feet wet. Let them remember how it feels. Get a little confidence. As I saw Trevor Lawrence say after the game yesterday, he said, this meant so much to us, I'm paraphrasing his quotes, because we needed a good taste in our mouths going toward their opener, which is against the Houston Texans. So what happened? Tom Brady throws for 154 yards getting ready for my Dallas Cowboys. And could we just see a few of those throws if we could? These are to Chris Godwin. This is the first drive. Look at that. You don't think that's arm strength? I think his arm's getting stronger at 44. That's a throw. That's a big league pro football throw. And here's the touchdown to Chris Godwin. I think that was right pinpoint on the money where it had to be for a touchdown. There you go. That'll work. And then we had one more throw later in the game, also to Chris Godwin out of the end zone. That'll work. So I think he's not in midseason form, Tom Brady. I think he's in postseason form already.
But Skip, you saw Mahomes play.
He played.
You saw Josh Allen play.
He played.
You saw Baker Mayfield play.
I saw him play.
Lamar Jackson played.
I saw him play.
But all these guys played, but you know what? Nah,
we're okay. So not only did Dak not play yesterday, not a single starter played yesterday for my Dallas Cowboys. I'm telling you, I was dumbfounded. I tried to look. I thought, he'll let Micah Parsons play a little bit. I'm looking for 11 on defense when they came out. 11? There's no 11. There's nobody. Trust me, 0 starters on offense or defense touched the football field yesterday. What is the point? Again, you have virtually 11 days to get ready for September 9th.
Well, I think the thing is, Skip, you got to be off until Thursday because.
Oh yeah, that's right. They have 3 mandatory days off.
Right.
Okay. So
after your last preseason game,
how can you not let some of the starters play, even if Dak doesn't? Some of the I have no earthly idea, but clearly Jerry, you're the GM. Jerry, you're the unofficial head coach. Jerry said no. Maybe Steven said no. We're going to play nobody because, remember, they've been saying all preseason doesn't matter.
Right, correct.
Okay.
Skip, I was not surprised, especially after the J.K. Dobbins injury. I thought a lot more people. I was surprised that everybody started seeing that, like J.K. Dobbins out for the season, and I thought everybody was going to get scared. But Bruce Arians says, nope. I'm playing my guys.
Playing my guy. Andy Reid said, I'm really playing my guy.
And Andy played, Skip, this is the past 2 games that Andy's played his guys.
Okay. So I'm looking at all these snaps played, and I'm seeing a whole lot of quarterbacks play a whole lot of snaps.
Yes.
Because, my God, so Patrick Mahomes ended up playing 51 snaps in the preseason. Dak Prescott played 0. Think about that.
Yeah.
So Dak Prescott, by September 9th, he will not have played a game in, I think it's 330 days. Mm-hmm. What? Mm-hmm. He's played nothing. And we saw in episode 1 of Hard Knocks, he didn't even make it to the first padded practice.
Right.
So he didn't joint scrimmage against the Rams. He played 0 they had 4 preseason games. McCarthy said, I had a plan in place, 10 to 15 plays in the first one, then a quarter in the next one, half in the next one. He played 0.
Right.
And you're going to throw him into that fire? So last night I sat back and I said, okay, so what are you going to do? Sneak up on him? That's your only hope.
Sneak up on who?
On Tampa, where they're just going to take you so not seriously. Did you see what Brady said after the game? He said, oh, they got a lot of firepower. They got a lot of draft picks.
Yeah.
Draft picks? That's all you're giving them is draft picks?
Think about this. Now, remember Tom Brady says he only says about 90% of what he's actually thinking. What is draft picks? Everybody gets draft picks. Tom Brady, you didn't break no news. Somebody got a lot of draft picks.
Yeah.
So did the Texans. So did all the other 31 teams had draft picks.
Well, that's the best thing you could think to say about
exactly.
the Cowboys.
Knowing that we're going to beat the brakes off them. Think about this, Skip. Patrick Mahomes took 1 fewer snap than Mac Jones. Mm-hmm. Mac Jones is a rookie trying to get his feet wet. And Andy Reid said, you know what, Pat? I need you to take this many reps. We see how long Mac Jones was playing for the Patriots. Mm-hmm. Patrick Mahomes took 1 fewer snap than Mac Jones. Dak Prescott took 0 snaps after missing basically the entire season. Okay. Missing the entire preseason.
So is it possible that Tampa gets too overconfident? Is it possible that,
no.
that Tampa's sitting back today saying, what are they doing?
No.
Or do they take it personally like, that you think you're ready for us?
They're so cocky, so confident that they think they can rest their starters the entire preseason, basically, and then come out here and hang with us. Tom Brady will come out there looking to kick 5 from people. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Yeah, I'm here for it, Gil.
But he's like that every Sunday. The greatest thing about Tom Brady is he does not care who the opponent is. He wants to shred said opponent.
Yeah.
He takes nobody lightly. He wants to throw 5 touchdown passes every game.
But he also said he loves playing those Thursday games because then he gets someone like a mini bye because you play that Thursday. And
but he also said if you're playing the Sooner game, as he called it, that means you did something good the last year, the year before.
You don't know, Skip, if you're at home and you're playing.
Well, then you really did something good. That means you won the championship,
you
right?
need to be playing at home on that Thursday game.
Okay.
But when I look at it, Skip, like I said, I felt when they said 2 to 3 days and Dak wasn't back after a week and he wasn't back after 2 weeks, that kind of gave you an indication the seriousness of this injury. And now they're saying we're going to do everything we possibly can to make sure Dak is ready. I thought you said he was ready. I thought Zeke said he had that pop in his arm. Say he looked good.
Okay, so when Ed Werder reported that he was, erratic in Saturday's practice? I'm like, duh. I mean, what do you expect?
Yeah.
Yes, he's going to be erratic. He's going to be rusty. He hasn't played any real football, and so we're going on
almost a year. Yes.
And now I can't think of a worse place to throw him into the fire than that place.
Right.
So on paper, even though Fox Bet still says this is a 7.5-point game,
I give you 7.5.
Tampa by 7.5. Heck no. I told you I'd give you that bet, but you wouldn't take it.
Nope. Sure
on
won't.
paper, this is the biggest sort of opening night mismatch I can ever remember. It is a complete, utter mismatch. You got all these kids who are going to get thrown into the starting lineup on defense, and I love them all. I do. I have nothing but hope. I'm even looking at Jabril Cox the other night as their backup linebacker. He can play.
Right.
He was at LSU first and North Dakota State, but he can just flat out play. He's always around the ball. So him and Micah obviously are going to change the way the defense plays. They're just babies. They have no idea. Tom Brady is 44, and he is the greatest technician, sort of neurosurgeon that ever picked somebody to pick.
Man, Tom Brady gonna be looking up in the stands, and they gonna run up in the stands, and Tom Brady gonna be throwing the ball right behind the head.
Yeah.
He gonna be looking them off because they don't understand. Tom is the master of looking one way. Wherever way he's looking, do not run that way. Because do you actually think Tom Brady's gonna be throwing the football the way he's looking? He's looking that way to get you to move that way so he can throw back behind you.
And
Y'all in trouble.
Dak is 6-11 in his last 17 starts, and as many yards as he threw for early last year, he was on a record pace. They were falling woefully behind, and they stole the Atlanta game, or they would have fallen to 0-4, right?
Yep. But I'm not surprised. I mean, anybody that thought, Dak was going to be crisp, I'm like, how is a guy going to be crisp? He's missed a year. He's missed basically all camp, and then all of a sudden he's just coming out there throwing darts. No.
And McCarthy sort of smugly saying after the game, we didn't have Kellen Moore even call plays tonight. You know, he passed it down to Doug Nussmeier, the quarterback coach, because he's assigned Kellen to study up on Tampa all week last week. So they're trying to get a 2.5 week head start on this. And you're going to do what to that defense? First, you got to protect your quarterback, and I don't think you can against
you know Lyle Collins hurt, Skip. He got a stinger. He missed a couple of days of practice. So that Shaq Barrett going to be feasted on somebody.
Lord have mercy on my Cowboys. We are on to the Chargers.
I know.
They should have Kellen Moore right now preparing for the Chargers because that's going to be make or break, sink or swim. They got to win game 2 at Chargers.
So what y'all going to do with Joey Bosa? Derwin James is back.
I know they are. We can win that game. We have a chance to win that game.
Oh, we can. And you normally be, we going to beat the Chargers. The little lowly Chargers. That's what you would normally say. Now, we can beat them. You don't seem too sure about that.
It's a 50-50 matchup. And, of course, it's at the stadium that will host the Super Bowl, so you never know.
I'm trying to figure out.
It might be one of those preview-type games.
50-50, and you got a top 5 highest-paid athlete in the world. In the world. And you talking about a 50-50 against the little lowly Chargers?
Well, you love Justin Herbert. That's what you tell me. He can wing it.
But hold on. What about your guy? You love Dak Prescott.
I did.
Dakota Rain. How you spell his name? How you spell his name?
R-E-I-G-N.
Yeah.
That will happen once we get past this opening night fiasco, thanks to Jerry Jones playing nobody in preseason game number 4.
No mercy.
Rajon Rondo is set to rejoin the Lakers, according to reports. The veteran guard is being bought out by the Grizzlies and looks to head back to the purple and gold that's stacking its roster with role players who have previously starred with the team. Just 2 seasons ago, you know this, Rondo was a key part for LeBron's team that won the title in the bubble. So, Shannon, how will Rondo fit as Russell Westbrook's backup in L.A.?
Better than he fit with the Clippers. Yeah, we got.
I hope so.
We got playoff Rondo.
Yeah.
I don't know what y'all had last year.
You know what? You can have him.
No.
Good riddance.
Whoa.
Good riddance. Yeah.
Yeah, look. You know you've covered this game long enough. You know everybody's personalities don't mesh. And you got to be careful just because somebody was good at a place. You need to understand the dichotomy of your locker room. Rondo is an abrasive personality. You got 2 guys now. Rondo will never be as accomplished. It'll never be the players that Kawhi and Paul George are, but they're not the leaders. And Rondo's personality, if Rondo sees something wrong, he gonna say it. And remember that rubbed Paul George, that rubbed Kawhi wrong with Trez, with Lou Williams. Got them up out of there. So in this situation, he saw something was wrong. But I knew the first time that I saw this, Skip, is the Mavericks game. When he passed that ball to Kawhi shot an air ball, and they were saying something coming off the court, and Rondo looked at him like, well, I threw you the ball. Why'd you hesitate?
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, Rondo started getting DMPs. Skip, this man has been a starting point guard.
Here it is, I believe. There's he
hesitated, pump fake.
Desperation.
Right,
air ball completely covered.
And they're walking off the court. Skip, I was trying to read Rondo lips what he actually said.
I can't read his lips, but he's saying you did something wrong. And Kawhi did not like getting shown up like that after he got stuck in the corner with no time left, completely covered, trying to get a shot up through the hands that are in his face.
But we saw the writing on the wall. Rondo Skip was the starting point guard on a championship-winning team. He was a valuable role player on another championship-winning team. He goes from that to DNP in playoffs. Skip, they call the man Playoff Rondo. And all of a sudden, the man that's named Playoff Rondo is not playing DNP, coach's decision, in a playoff game. You know how this was going to end, Skip.
Yep.
I think the thing is coming back. I think it's another opportunity for LeBron to stay off the ball even longer. You want to really manage LeBron minutes, especially in the early part of the season. Try to keep him somewhere around 32. If you can play him just 30 minutes and get away with that and win ball game, you will. But a guy like Rondo, Skip, you got to define his role. You can't come in there and give him false hope like Rondo, you're going to be playing 28 minutes a night. Rondo, you're going to be playing somewhere around 18 to 20 minutes a night.
So you're telling me Rondo's going to be the two-guard backup for your Lakers? Because you told me LeBron's going to be playing off the ball.
LeBron going to be off the ball. LeBron going to be Rondo point.
Have the ball? There's another guy named Westbrook who has to have the ball in his hands.
They might not.
So they're going to play with two basketballs? I don't know.
Hold on. See, why are you worried about what's going on with a championship winning team?
Because I'm predicting it's going to blow up in your face.
I'm predicting y'all will not make it to the conference championship this year. We are going to the NBA Finals. That's what we will be doing. Now, as I explained to you, Rondo and LeBron, remember how well they played together? Now, you just talked about this last year when y'all got Rondo, how well Rondo played with LeBron and what he was going to bring to the Clippers. Now that we get him back, now you do dumping on him.
Okay, there was nobody there named Russell Westbrook in the bubble, right? I told you he disqualifies every good move that GM LeBron made this year. And that's another good move, quote unquote, until you remember, oh, he's backing up Russell Westbrook, who does not like to come out of basketball games. He wants to play high minutes. He wants to play 40 plus.
Well, he ain't going to be playing 40 plus.
Well, if he isn't, he's going to be unhappy. So you'll have two unhappy campers.
Remember what they talked about? What did Russell say at his press conference? It's about sacrificing. That's what he said at his press conference.
Oh, he always says that preseason. Watch.
You watch.
Yeah.
But I'm happy that Rondo's back. I think he'll fit well. I think he'll do a good job with that second unit. And sometimes LeBron likes to come in there with that second unit. He and AD, great pick and roll action. I like this move. Sneaky.
Okay, sneaky.
Sneaky
it's
good.
It's going to be sneaky blow up right in your face.
Why you?
Like one of those trick cigars that blows up in your face. You're going to light it up and it's going to explode. Right
Why you always try to put bad mouth on our selection?
I'm just predicting what's about to happen because I'm going to go back to the bubble. The unsung hero for that Lakers championship run was one Rajon Rondo. He was playoff Rondo, and he was exactly what the doctor ordered for that team because he came in and saved the day again and again. It was game 2 and game 6, the closeout game. He scored 16 in game 2 and 19 in the closeout game. 16 and 19, and he made 3 of 4 threes in each of those games. That's 6 of 8 threes in game 2 and game 6. Every time he shot a 3, I'd say, no, yes, no, yes, because he has a reputation for not being a very good three-point shooter, except in the clutch, under fire in that series. He made shots that were crucial to your winning the Bubblicious championship.
There you go.
Well, it was. The Cubans are going to. Well, it was. You're playing Miami, the 5th seed, without Bam, without Dragic, 2 of their leading players.
What would the Clippers give for one of those?
It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter because Rondo was exactly what you needed, and I thought wrongly exactly what the Clippers needed at midseason to reacquire him. I thought it was a Jerry West special. We let him go get his money in Atlanta. Remember? Money the Clippers did not have until Atlanta said, okay, that's enough of that, as he was backing up Trey Young, and that was not working, and that they would hand him back with, they would pay the freight, but hand him back at midseason to the Clippers. And I thought, perfect, bingo. The quarterback this team needs, the leader this team needs, the one guy who will keep Kawhi and Paul George in line on the floor. But there's one thing you can't do. When a play blows up at the end of a game, when it just goes completely haywire, it's also your fault because you're the point guard, and I thought he would distribute for them. He would put them in positions that they could not get in as they blew the 3-1 lead in the bubble to the Nuggets.
Nuggets, correct.
Right? Okay, so the point was, you're right. The beginning of the end was that night. It was game 5 at home. They lost to the Mavericks after they'd won games 3 and 4 impossibly at Dallas. They came back and they blow game 5 because they screw up a play at the end of the game. At least you can get a shot.
Right.
And because the ball wound up in the corner in Kawhi's hands, Kawhi didn't love it. And then Rondo is showing him up as they walk off the floor by sort of chewing him out. We
ain't chewing him out, but you ain't going to say something under your breath without me getting back at you.
Well, I'd say.
Why you walking toward me? Just walk onto the locker room. You know, air ball. But LeBron never shot an air ball to end the game.
Oh, no? He's probably shot 15 of them.
LeBron ain't never do. He's like, man, I came over here for this.
Yeah, but LeBron takes them himself, and they're like uncontested, and he misses it badly.
And Kawhi tried to show up Rondo. You saw him turn to him, Skip.
Well, he didn't that's something you save for the locker room, right? What says in there stays in there.
Well, you should have
right?
saved that shot for practice.
Okay, so look what happened to Rondo after that game 5. Here are the minutes he played in the first 5 games against the Mavericks.
Yeah.
24, 19, 26, 20, and 21. Right. That'll work. That's what I thought you'd get out of him.
That's what.
Then all of a sudden, after that little altercation on the floor, his minutes fell to 10 in Game 6 and 9 in Game 7 against the Mavericks. Then we start the Utah series, and he plays 28 the first game, which shocked me.
Right.
Didn't play well. They lost. And then did not participate. DNP in the next 2 games. And then he's inactive for the 3rd game. That's when I knew, this thing's completely over. You didn't even dress him?
Yep.
Okay, and then he played 9 minutes in Game 5 and 7 minutes in Game 6. So he is falling completely out of the rotation. And in the final go-around against the Suns, he did play 22 in Game 1, but then the last 3 games of that series, DNP, gone. Right? Mm-hmm. So you knew he was gone, and he gets traded to, where was it, Memphis. And then he's going to get bought out because they don't want any part of Rondo. Right. And with John Morant, and he's back in your good graces, you think. But there was no Russell Westbrook in the bubble.
Skip, I really think Rondo took that big payday because the Lakers didn't have that kind of money. But I don't think Rondo really wanted to leave the Lakers. He had to. Because the Hawks were offering $15 million for 2 years. The Lakers only probably had like $1.5 million, $2 million.
Agreed.
So you'd be foolish not to take that, Skip. But I don't really think he was happy because he didn't think the Hawks had a legitimate chance of winning a championship. And for whatever reason, it just did not work with him and the Clippers. It didn't. Paul George and Kawhi's personalities. Mm-hmm. Skip, look, they're great players, but they're not what we call leaders. Yep. And that doesn't necessarily mean just because you're the best players, you got to be the leaders.
Okay. But and who is Paul George's best friend on the team? Reggie Jackson.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Mr. What we call him? June? Mr. June?
Mr. June.
Yeah, Mr. June. Reggie Jackson, who suddenly rose and shone in the playoffs. And that was the end of Rondo, because then you didn't really need Rondo.
Correct. Because not only was he being able to, he could score. Rondo, at this juncture, Rondo can't score like that. Now, we've seen, Skip, Rondo had a I think it's the Eastern Conference Finals against the Heat. He had a 44-point game. So he could score once upon a time, not give you like 20 a night, but he could score.
Okay.
But for whatever reason, Skip, it just never worked for the Clippers.
Okay. And maybe it's because he was unhappy too, but I start seeing some erosion in his performance where he's starting to age right before your very eyes. He's going into year 16.
Yeah.
Of course, that fits right in with your team, the geriatric team.
Don't worry about that.
Huh?
We won a championship. Y'all ain't won a championship.
What's LeBron now? 40...
Gonna be 37 and cutting butt.
37, I'm sorry.
37 and cutting butt. You're
really?
19. Yeah. Have you ever seen anybody you're 19 cut butt like this?
What time is it now? He's probably already finished, his 3rd workout today? Second.
Well,
yeah, he's got his 3rd coming up.
We up since 420.
3 a days, right? 420?
Through Savannah Posh surprise birthday party.
Really?
You saw that?
I did not.
Man,
I don't follow
LeBron. Yeah. Huh. Mama looking good. Said, hey, after you held this thing down for me over the last 20 years.
Really?
This is what I got for you.
LeBron gets up at only 4:20? That's late.
Hey, no, hold on. Tell myself, Skip.
I'm already done with my first workout by then.
But that's the only workout of the day. He got 3.
No, I do 2 a day.
Oh, he doing 3.
Oh, is he?
Yes.
Okay. He should do 4 a day.
Hold up.
Because that'll de-age you, right?
He doing 3 workouts a day, going over scripts.
Really?
You know, potential movies, because you know that Space Jam was a hit. Yeah, you know that Space Jam was a hit.
Not in my house.
You a hater, though. It's a lot of hate emanate from your house. Yeah. Get Ernestine out of there. Is she good?
Ernestine was completely objecting. She said, seriously?
No.
I can't watch this.
You done rubbed off on Ernestine.
No, I have not.
Yeah.
She was not predisposed to not like this, but she was like, seriously?
I liked it.
But we had watched the first Space Jam first. Just a reminder of how good it was, the real
Man, they
original.
shot that with a camcorder.
Really?
You see the CG they had in this?
Yeah.
This is up-to-date stuff, Skip.
They needed it.
4K.
Yep.
Yeah, of course.
They needed to fool people.
No mercy.
49ers used a quarterback platoon in their preseason finale, bringing in Trey Lance to replace Jimmy G on the offense's fourth play of the game and alternating the two signal callers on the first two drives of their win against the Raiders. Both those drives ended with touchdown runs by the quarterbacks, first by Garoppolo and second by Lance. And after the game, Kyle Shanahan seemed happy with how the game plan went. Take a listen.
I thought they did a good job. I mean, by no means was it perfect, but I thought just the function of it and going in and out and not knowing when it's going to be, it wasn't a planned rotation or anything. I was trying to make it situational, so I was just doing it mainly off impulse and, whenever the down and distance, it felt like what we wanted to call. So those guys seemed like they handled it good. I'll meet with them tomorrow and watch all with them, which I'm looking forward to, but today I thought it was good.
Shannon, will this work?
No, not like this. Skip, if you have something designed, now I was a part of a team, Skip, and you were covering the Cowboys, I think, at the time, where we alternated the quarterbacks just like you alternate running backs or you alternate receivers. Every single play. Tommy Madison, Sean Moore. One would come in, run a play, run off the field. Here come the other guy coming in with a play. We run that. We did that.
It's because was it Dan Reeves?
Dan Reeves, yeah.
Because he had watched Tom Landry try to get away with that.
With Craig Morton and Roger Staubach. Yes. And so, Skip, I don't think this will work like this. Now, if you want to have a series, and I don't really know if you can do a series, maybe a play here or there, but to try to do this for the entirety of the game and to say, okay, you got this series, okay, you got that series, and you got this play, you got that play. Yep. Skip, I don't think it will work. But he said, look, what I was trying to do was try to make it situational. In certain situations where I thought it would be beneficial to get Trey in there, we did that. In other situations where I thought it would be better if we had Jimmy in there, we did that. So there was no rhyme or reason for me doing what I did. I get it. Lamar Jackson and Joe Flacco, very different quarterbacks, and this is a very similar situation, although Jimmy G is more mobile than Joe Flacco. They found a way to get Lamar some runs. They let him run the ball, some design runs. They let him throw the ball also. Joe Flacco kind of get injured. Lamar comes in, and he doesn't look back. So, Skip, for me, I think that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to find a way to get him on the field. So next year, when they start fresh with Trey Lance, it won't be like a situation he really hadn't played. They're trying to get him up to speed with the speed of the NFL game, what to look for, some of the keys. Because, Skip, if you look at the preseason, he's 19 of 41, 46% completion, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, but he took 6 sacks. And so I think Kyle is trying to get him ready. So this game is a lot faster than what you played at North Dakota State. And we need your anticipatory skills to increase tenfold. So this is why I believe Jimmy G is going to start. And, Skip, I think they'll have a better game plan. I agree with Kyle. I think he was just experimenting to see what he can and what he can't get away, what he could and what he couldn't get away with. But, Skip, you can't run quarterbacks like this.
Okay. So, to your point, the oldest cliche in all of football is if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have 0, right?
0.
2 quarterbacks, you have none quarterbacks. Right. Okay, and I basically agree with that premise because in 1971, I wasn't yet covering the Cowboys because it's even before my time.
Oh, okay.
But 1971, they got to Game 7 at Chicago, and it got so bad between Roger Staubach, the up-and-comer, and the incumbent Craig Morton, who was a statue in the pocket, as opposed to Roger Dodger, who had some Trey Lance in and could run with it at about 6'2", 220-ish. Mm-hmm. That it got so bad, Tom Landry was so indecisive that he was the first to say, I'll just alternate them. And then I can tell one what the play is so that he'll hear it from my lips because there was no communication at that
back
point.
then, no.
Okay, so I can tell him what the play is and watch this and watch that, and then he could run in and call it while the other one's running off the field.
Correct.
And it was a disaster because the Bears weren't very good. They played at Chicago, and they lost 23-19 to fall to 4-3. And the next week, Tom Landry said, I've seen enough. I'm going with the kid, who was not really a kid because he'd been in the Navy and been to Vietnam.
Yes.
Okay, so he was an older kid.
Right.
But he threw Roger Staubach in and gave him the team, and great things happened. They win their next 10, and it's Super Bowl history because they finally broke through and beat Miami in the Super Bowl.
Skip, but that's the way they brought plays in. Mm-hmm. You would either send a running back or you send a wide receiver in with the plays, like you said.
There was messenger.
And nobody was signaling, and they had no flip card, that they had no headset.
Okay,
so
I got it. So now back to what I saw yesterday. My second shock of the day, after watching Jerry Jones play nobody in the Cowboy game, no starter on either side of the ball, is I turn on San Francisco, and here we go with Jimmy G. Okay. And then it's the fourth play of the game. The fourth play. Guess who? Trey Lance is in the game.
Right.
And he's in for a play. Garoppolo seems to happily run off.
Yeah,
you seem to know what's going on.
Seemingly. I love the way you use that word, seemingly.
He seemed to go along with it. He was good after the game talking about it. So he runs a little play to Mostert, and it swings wide, and it gets good yardage.
Yes.
And then Jimmy G comes back on, and then he plays one snap, and then Trey Lance comes back in and plays 4 straight snaps. And then finally, Jimmy G comes all the way back in for this play on 3rd and goal, and he tries to run over a linebacker because he's trying to save his job.
Yep.
He's saying, if the kid can do it, I can do it too. I'll show you, Kyle. Watch this. And you want to talk about dangerous? That's kind of crazy, right?
And that's
for
your
a
right
guy,
shoulder.
And wait a second. What do you always tell me about Jimmy G? He's brittle,
Yes,
right? Oh,
yes.
he's fragile. He's hurt too often.
But see, Skip, this is what happens.
Okay.
When you do things like that, you get the incumbent thinking outside of the box, thinking that he has to do something because he wants to impress, and he almost had his shoulder separated.
But what did the incumbent see on draft night, or it actually came before that?
They traded this.
They traded their whole future to go up to number 3 to take Trey Lance.
Right.
So does Jimmy G not know that his days are numbered?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because this wasn't like Mac Jones falling into Belichick's lap at 15.
No.
It wasn't like Belichick had to pay anything extra.
Yeah, they gave up no
for
draft
him.
capital for Jimmy G.
Okay, so it's not like your whole future is attached to Mac Jones. Your whole future is attached to Trey Lance.
Correct.
So I actually enjoyed watching how it flowed because Kyle, who I have nothing but respect for, you obviously watched him grow up in your locker room because his father was your head coach in Denver, Mike Shanahan. And Kyle is good enough instinctively. He said it was just impulse.
Yes.
That's what he said, I'm going on impulse situation, down and distance.
Right.
If I have a good feeling about this next 3 plays, I may put Trey in. It's not a Trey package. It's not like Taysom Hill goes in or Tim Tebow used to go in as a freshman at Florida, where it's designed, he's going to go in and run 3rd and short. He's going to run the read option.
Right.
He's just sort of getting, I'll let Trey have it for a little while. Then I'll let Jimmy go back in. Then I'll let Trey. And Jimmy G seemed okay with it after the game because he was saying, the Raiders were completely on their heels the whole time because they're going to get a whole different look from me than from Trey, right?
Yes. But, Skip, I think the thing is, the hardest thing about that is about a rhythm. Quarterbacks desire rhythm. They need rhythm. And I don't know how well you can stay in a rhythm, Skip, if every series or every other series, someone's in the ball game and you're standing on the sideline like, okay, hear the...
Maybe. But if any quarterback's ever going to put up with it, it's Jimmy G, because he doesn't ever come across like a wave maker to me.
No, the quarterback that's going to put up with it is the quarterback that doesn't have a choice. You think you're going to do that with Tom Brady? You think you're going to do that with Aaron Rodgers?
Well, Sean Payton did get away with it with Drew Brees, and it would shock me. I would feel sorry for Drew Brees because he'd go out and line up at flanker. You know?
But, Skip, I think the thing is that Taysom would get like 4 or 5 of these plays a game. It wasn't no alternating series, and Taysom Hill wasn't getting an entire series.
No, heck no.
He would get, Trey Lance had an entire series.
No, he did. And he had an entire half of a series.
Yes.
And it's random.
Right.
It's like, oh, well, I'll give him the next 3 or 4 plays. I'll leave him in. I'll leave him for another one. But I'm going to put Jimmy G back in at the goal line.
Trust me,
really.
Drew knew when Taysom was going to come in. It was no situation he's getting ready, he's in the huddle, and all of a sudden, Taysom was tapping him on the shoulder talking about, Drew, I got you this one. It was none of that situation.
Okay, but I do love this way of easing Trey into the fray.
Yeah.
I do like it. And if you want to try game 1 like this, where you're just randomly throwing Trey in for 2 or 3 plays here or there, not designed. It's not a package.
No, Skip. They'll be.
You don't think so?
No.
So you think Jimmy G's going to play the whole game?
No, I'm not going to say he's going to play the whole game, Skip, but I'm just saying, Kyle is so much like his dad. His dad is not random. We went to the game, we knew this situation because we practiced, we rehearsed it. So like he said, this was impulse. Ain't gonna be no, it might be an impulse when they do it, like where we do it at down and distance or area of the field or something like that, Skip. But they will have a plan. Jimmy G will know, in this situation right here, expect Trey to come into the ball game.
Okay. I just get the feeling, and you know this better than I do, but from a distance, Kyle feels different than Dad. Kyle feels like he's got a little more extemporaneous to him. where he's a little more outside the box. He's a huge Lil Wayne fan.
Yes.
Okay,
he's definitely
like he's different.
I will give you that. I believe he's a little bit more outside of the box. He's more apt to try things. Mike's like, if it didn't, Kyle, even if something didn't work in practice, Kyle strikes you as a guy that, okay, it's going to work in the game. It didn't work. We couldn't get it drawn up. That's not how Mike was. Mike,
there's more meat and potatoes to Mike. Like, we have to prep this until we know it's going to work in the game.
Yes.
And Kyle's a little more seat of pants. I got a feeling.
And John was like that. John wasn't going to be out there like, okay, we ran this in practice. We didn't get anywhere. And like, go call it in the game. Call what for what?
Okay. I think he's going to throw you some curveballs. And I think it's going to work.
I mean, well, the kid, I mean, they're so vastly different. How do you, it's kind of like having a running back, one's power, one's speed. So it's kind of hard to prepare for them because you don't know which one you're going to get.
That's what you love about it.
Yeah, but Skip, you got to do a better job of that 46 completion percentage, Skip. It's got to be.
I got it, but how many snaps do you think he gets in game one? Trey Lance.
5 tops.
Really? I got 20-ish for sure.
Oh, no.
Yes.
No.
Watch.
Okay, all right. I don't know.
They're only going to be 65 plays.
20.
Interesting.
That was the path that he was on yesterday.
No.
Okay.
He was just experimenting.
No mercy.
Tua Tagovailoa may need to be worried about his job as reports have begun circulating that the Miami Dolphins are the frontrunners to trade for Deshaun Watson. Watson has a no-trade clause and would be able to dictate his destination if Houston decides to move on from the quarterback. Dolphins coach Brian Flores didn't discuss the report, saying he doesn't comment on speculation, and he added that the team is, quote, very confident in Tua. So, Shannon, what does this tell you about Tua?
Nothing. How many teams will be willing to get off their quarterback right now for a 25-year-old Deshaun Watson, given he didn't have the issues going off the field, Skip? But it just goes to show you how talented Deshaun Watson is. And plus, Skip, you get him on a contract. He's tied up on a very friendly contract for the foreseeable future. Now, for me, Miami's like, that's a no-brainer. But not at this price, Skip. I'm assuming they're going to want Tua also. And 3 first-rounders and 2 twos? I'm not so sure you could have got that with no issues surrounding Deshaun Watson. That's a king's ransom. See, that's what you do, Skip. I'm going to throw it out there. Only thing, kind of like with the Cowboys and the Vikings. Jimmy say, okay, y'all want Herschel? Give me this, this, and this. Vikings say, okay. Jimmy say, go home. No, Skip, you're not going to get this. But for me, there's only a handful of teams. If Deshaun Watson does not have these issues, there's probably what, Skip? 7, 8 teams that wouldn't move off their quarterback, maybe 9 wouldn't move off their quarterback for Deshaun Watson, and Tua doesn't have the experience and the history that says, okay, yeah, he's a no-brainer. I know when I got Deshaun Watson. It's a proven fact. The guy's a multiple-time Pro Bowl player. Skip, even after this, guess what? He's still a top 100 NFL player. So I'm not surprised that Miami is going to try to make this move happen. Like I said, Deshaun Watson still has the cards because he has the no-trade clause. So it's been reported that he already vetoed, I'm not going to Philly. Y'all going to trade. If I'm getting up out of here, and I'm going to go to where I want to go, or I'm going to sit on y'all payroll. Skip, I believe it's going to happen sooner than later, but the asking price is going to have to come down substantially. They're not going to get nearly what they thought they were. They should have just moved it. When he first broached this subject before any of this came out, Skip, they should have moved it. Now, you're going to get pennies on the dollar for Deshaun Watson.
Really?
Yep.
Okay, so do you believe that Buffalo right here, right now, would move off Josh Allen for Deshaun?
No, but I believe Cleveland Browns would move off Baker Mayfield to Josh Allen. That's what I believe.
He's playing his little tail off.
He ain't playing like Josh Allen. You saw Josh Allen Saturday, right? Okay.
I did. I've been seeing Baker Mayfield for the last 10 games. He had been on a roll.
One guy got second in the MVP voting. What did Baker get?
Think the Ravens would move off Lamar?
He's an MVP.
Thank you. Okay. Do you think the Chargers would move off Justin Herbert?
Skip, the guy was Rookie of the Year.
Okay, I'm just asking questions. I'm going to say it again. You're a big Tua fan, and you are on the wrong bandwagon. He is not that guy.
I don't like Tua more than I like Deshaun.
Okay, well, this is showing you they don't believe in Tua. They're just holding on for dear life until they think they got a shot at Deshaun. And I love Deshaun, and he's really good, and he's got a really serious issue hanging over his head. We know that.
Right.
And that could mitigate his ability to be great at the next play. I don't know how it's all going to play out. So we got to have that as a big asterisk on this situation.
Right.
But it did not surprise me that Miami emerged as the front runner, reportedly, in this Deshaun Derby, because Tua struggled last year in QBR. I know he's just a rookie, but he wound up 26 of 33 qualified in QBR.
Right.
Pro Football Focus, your favorite website, ranked him 33rd of 42 quarterbacks that started games last year. So not great. Only 64% of his passes. Not bad on touchdowns.
But hasn't he looked better in the preseason than what he looked last year?
I've seen here and there of him. He's been pretty good, but I don't think he's that guy. I don't think they trust his ability to stay healthy. What was it? 7 reported surgeries that he had while he was at Alabama. Everything went wrong and had the career-threatening hip surgery.
Right. Last year was supposed to be a redshirt year.
Okay.
He wasn't even supposed to play.
Okay. And so remember, the most shocked man in the house at 3-3 when they replaced him with Tua was Fitzmagic.
Right.
Remember, he's still talking about it.
Right.
I don't know what happened. I don't think the team knew what had happened because the team did. We saw report after report coming out of Miami. The team was not sold on Tua.
Right.
Okay. So they were sold on Fitzpatrick, and yet it took Ryan Fitzmagic to come back in and say, remember at Las Vegas, he pulled a rabbit out of his hat late in place of Tua.
Yeah.
And they did wind up finishing 10-6 last year, but that was not good enough to get in the playoffs. And I just don't think they are sold going forward with Tua. So they get a shot at Deshaun. It's like a no-brainer.
Skip.
Thank you very much.
Skip, Deshaun was a top 5 quarterback.
Yeah.
So a top 5 quarterback. So who wouldn't move? I mean, if you got a top 5.
Listed teams that would
I'll
not.
tell you what, let me ask you a question. Do you think the Cleveland Browns would get off Baker Mayfield for Patrick Mahomes?
Sure.
Aaron Rodgers.
Would. Yep.
Tom Brady.
Yeah, you should put him number 1 on that
So
list.
why would they do that? If you sold on Baker Mayfield, why would you get off him for those guys?
Okay. Do you think Buffalo would get off Josh Allen for those guys?
Nope.
You better believe they
Nope.
would in a
Nope.
heartbeat. In a heartbeat, they would.
I don't believe
I'm
they would.
sorry.
I don't believe
sorry.
they would.
You're
Skip,
wrong.
What you call him? But see, here's the thing: Tua is not thought of as a top 10, top 15 quarterback. Deshaun Watson is thought of before as a top 5 quarterback. You get an opportunity to get a top 5 quarterback that's 25, 25 years of age, and you said no. If I can get him at my price now.
Okay. Tua is an undersized, soft-arm quarterback with severe injury history. It would predict that he would get hurt sooner than later, right?
He might, but I'm looking at him in the preseason. 71% of his passes he's completed. Now he's had a year to train as opposed to just rehab. Last year was supposed to be a redshirt year for him, Skip. I'm surprised that he didn't even play. I remember you and I was talking about this. I was like, this is going to be a redshirt year. Fitzmagic going to bring this thing home. They'll move on from Fitzpatrick, and then now all of a sudden Tua gets in there. I was more shocked than Fitzmagic was when they said we go into Tua. I'm like, what? Why? He had just won 2 games. And you're going in a different direction. For what? So it made no sense to me. But if I get an opportunity to get Deshaun Watson, oh, yeah, I'm doing that, Skip, for sure.
Okay. Well, that could be the end of Tua there. And do you think he's going to turn into a star for the Texans? Is that what you're saying?
Skip.
Because I don't see it.
Skip. All I'm saying is, I believe he's the guy that can win game and get you to the playoffs. Now, Super Bowl and all that's a whole different argument. We can discuss that another day.
Okay.
But
I do not believe he's a playoff.
Let me ask you this: Baker Mayfield or Deshaun Watson?
Oh, for Deshaun, I thought you were going to say or Tua.
No,
I'll take Baker over Tua any day or night.
Baker Mayfield or Deshaun Watson? 32 GMs. I mean, 32 GMs. How many take Baker Mayfield? How many take Deshaun?
Yeah, I don't think they would take him over. Take Deshaun over Baker right now in Cleveland. I think they're completely 100% sold.
I'm saying, obviously, what's going on around Deshaun.
Yep.
But ability to play the position on the field, it's not even close. And
Well,
you know
it is
that.
very close.
It is not very close.
Oh, have you been watching him the last 12 games?
Well, it's close like Miami to San Francisco.
With no Odell?
They're both in the U.S.,
Really?
but they're really not close.
So over those last, what was it? Is it 13 games without Odell last year? Or is it 11 games? I can't remember. But he ranked 4th in QBR in the NFL. I thought he was just... Remember, he had 4 different head coaches and 3 different offensive coordinators in his first 2 years.
Think about Deshaun.
Really?
Deshaun led the league in passing.
Love Deshaun, but I loved him in college.
Without D-Hop, with Fuller being suspended. That's what he did.
Yeah. Well, Baker did some stuff.
That's what he did. He didn't do that. He didn't do that.
Well, he did get them to the playoffs, and they did beat Ben Roethlisberger in Pittsburgh in a playoff game.
Hold on. Didn't Deshaun get them to the playoffs the year before?
Yep.
Also.
Okay. So I like him, but I don't think Cleveland would do that deal.
Deshaun is better than Baker Mayfield.
Okay.
You and I both know that.
Well, do you think he's better than Josh Allen?
Who?
Well, Deshaun.
That's a toss-up.
It's a toss-up.
Toss-up.
Okay. Justin Herbert, toss-up.
I'll take Deshaun over Herbert.
Okay, got it. And Lamar Jackson.
That's just me.
Lamar?
Deshaun is better than Lamar.
Yep, I agree. Okay, I got it. So he's way better than Tua, and it's over for Tua.
And he's better than Baker Mayfield. He's better than Baker.
I just don't think they would do that deal. I'll give you in a vacuum, he's a little better than Baker, but Baker was the first pick in the draft for a reason.
In a vacuum, in a Swiffer, it doesn't matter. He better. You know that. Because I've seen my guy at the highest level do something that your guy couldn't do. Win the national championship.
Yep.
In a last-second drive, with a last-second throw. How many had Baker done that?
No. He got hurt against Georgia in the semifinals.
Oh, what you mean? After you had a big old lead, you remember he had that big old lead, and he running off the field doing windmills?
Yep.
And they walked him down.
Well, I had maybe the worst good team defense in the history of college football.
You got Baker.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield, quarterbacks
going
overcome
up
any
against
defense.
Chubb and Sony Michel? Really?
Whoa. Hold on. Baker had a 21-7 lead on Chubb and Sony Michel. That's what he had.
Who ran a track meet on my Sooners thereafter.
So why did they run the track meet before they got that big lead? And then guess what happened? Your guy just slowly but surely, that pressure.
Nope. He got banged up, beat
Ain't
up.
no banged up, but we don't do that, Skip. We don't do that. My guy got banged up. You remember they helicoptered him?
Yep.
And he stayed right in the game. Reuben Foster helicoptered him, spinning round and round like Elway in the Super Bowl. He landed, got popped right back up.
Okay.
Game-winning drive.
Yeah. Who are you talking about?
Deshaun.
Oh, I got it. I thought he should have won the first Alabama game.
You was happy. Remember how you came in here? Talking about, I told you, say, ain't Nick.
Well, I did. Giving up another 40 points.
Hey,
right?
guess what? But he had just beat him the year before. And then guess what he did? He came back and got that one, had Georgia. As a matter of fact, since we had this conversation, St. Nick done won 2 more titles. You know that?
Not going to win this year, though.
Skip, let that Oklahoma stuff go.
No, I'm not going to let it go. We're going to win the national championship and the Heisman Trophy.
Y'all conference was so bad, y'all had to come see us in the SEC. Y'all the mess.
Well, the school I went to belongs in the SEC. It's already there.
First of all, y'all only stay for the checks. Y'all ain't winning nothing. Okay? Football, basketball.
Baseball.
Y'all got a little baseball. Y'all got a little baseball team.
Golf. Tennis. Keep going.
No. Y'all just take them big SEC checks. Y'all be taking, LSU, Alabama, Georgia, Florida. They always on television. And y'all getting them big old revenue checks. Y'all just keep cashing the finish at the bottom.
Yeah, and
they need to boot y'all out.
We have NFL pick after pick after pick. They're everywhere. We are a football factory, a baseball factory, a basketball factory. We own the NBA.
Skip, y'all are not a football factory, okay?
Yes, we are.
Y'all are doormat.
There are Vandy kids all over the NFL right now.
I need a list right now. I need to see these.
Y'all got like 4 or 5 guys.
No,
you got little Kendall Sheffield. Sheffield from?
Sherfield.
Sherfield.
Yeah.
Y'all got like 4 or 5 guys, and you make it seem like y'all got Alabama, Ohio State pedigree.
Casey Hayward, you want me to keep going?
Yes, I do.
No mercy.
You know, I'm counting down the days. Thursday night, the reigning Big Ten champs kick off their season in prime time as number 4 Ohio State takes on Minnesota at 7:30 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. I get to go home for that one. I am looking forward to it. College football. Guys, it's already here. We also have NFL right around the corner, which is our next discussion after Mac Jones threw a touchdown against the Giants. Cam Newton searched him down on the sidelines to give his fellow quarterback a high five. Only the Alabama rookie didn't seem to see the former MVP. Every time I watch it, guys. After the game, Jones spoke to reporters about the moment that went viral online. Take a listen.
Yeah, I saw. He showed me the video or whatever. I didn't hear him or see him, and then I was like, oh, my bad. But that's Cam for you. He's happy, and he's a great teammate, so I'm happy to be in the same room as him and just learn from him because he's a great dude.
It's really sweet, like just how he's marching down the field, following him. Shannon, what did you make of this?
Just Cam being silly. Because, Skip, that was the only time in the preseason when I stood up on the sideline because I was genuinely happy for the rookies because I remember my rookie year how Mark Jackson and Vance Johnson, Ricky Nattil, all the guys would stand up, and if I did something good, they would be cheering on the sideline. I scored a touchdown against the 49ers on a Monday night, and they all ran on the field and dumped water on my head because they were genuinely happy for me. I like carried that over. So that's the only time that during the season, I'm sitting on the bench. I ain't standing watching nobody except when I played against Jerry and I played against Barry Sanders. I had to stand up and see them.
Yep.
But anyway, Skip, I mean, Cam is genuinely happy for Mac Jones. And I believe Mac is like just so focused on what he needs to do, he didn't even see Cam. And then Cam, marching down the sideline like, oh, you're going to give me my pie. You're going to give me my dap. You're going to give me my dap. And then Mac was like, oh, there you go, and dapped him up. But this is Cam. Is reported that Cam is already giving basically everybody a nickname. He giving Mac Jones a nickname, and they sincerely, genuinely seem, I believe, Skip, like each other. They're in the same meeting room. I genuinely believe they have a good time being around each other. So I don't make any more out of it than Cam just having a good time, being genuinely happy, even though they're competing for the same job. I can be happy for you that you did something good.
Okay, so there's obviously nothing at all wrong with what Cam did.
Yeah.
For him, it's just business as usual. It's still not the Patriot way because that's never happened before in New England, at least over the last 10
They never had a quarterback competition after the second year.
No, they have not. And they've never had a Cam Newton in the middle of that quarterback competition. So to me, it's another instance of Cam. He's a look-at-me guy. There's showboat going on. He loves to be the center of attention, and he made himself the center of attention in a positive way, but he's upstaging the kid a little bit, like, I'm going to get mine, I'm going to get mine, I'm going to march down. And it's part of the Cam Newton entertainment package.
Right.
This is just my point about this. There's only one way for Belichick, and it's the Patriot way. And I think that Cam continues to try to shatter that mold in every way, shape, and form. And it's just who Cam is. He's just being 1,000% legit Cam. And yet, I just don't believe in my heart of hearts that Belichick loves any of this because it's not contributing in Belichick's eyes to winning football games. That's what I believe. And now to your point about, is Cam really genuinely happy for this kid? I have a hard time believing in his heart of hearts that he's genuinely happy. He's happy that they have a chance to be a good football team. And he's doing his part to be, in fact, Matt calls him a mentor. He is mentoring them. So it's not like he's doing the Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers cold shoulder. I don't know, you've talked about how you helped the young tight end behind you a little bit. But at some point, you're also trying to protect your turf, your job, right?
Well, I don't look at it because I knew they could. I knew he couldn't beat me out. None of the guys that backed me up, I knew they couldn't beat me out.
Well, do you think Cam thinks that Mac has a chance to beat him out?
In Cam's mind, no. He doesn't believe that Mac don't know.
Okay, politically, just under the lay of the land, the way it's all tilted right now, does Cam think, this could be trouble? Yep, I think he does, which is why I don't think he's genuinely happy that this kid just plays a little better each time he plays. Again, he got sacked 4 times yesterday and he held on the ball too long, but he made a bunch of good throws, albeit against backups, but he's coming. You can see him coming.
But see, I think the thing is, Skip, it would be more if he was standoffish. Remember how it was with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers? And we hear about, there was no love lost between Joe and Steve. And that,
no love lost.
And so I don't really know to this day if they like, hey, yo, dog, what's up? So, Skip, I think this is the best way for it to be. I do think Cam is happy for him. Cam understands that this is competition. That's what pro sports is about now. Yeah, you make a lot of money, but it's about competition.
But he just doesn't want to lose his job tomorrow to that kid, right?
All he has to do is play like Cam. No, we know Cam can play. And he doesn't have to worry about that.
Okay, but how do we know Cam can play? Because down the stretch last year, I couldn't find him.
Well, play like the MVP.
Okay.
Play like the guy
that
won
left in him?
Play like the guy that's taking the Carolina Panthers to the playoffs and won a playoff game.
Would you expect that from him?
I expect him to play like that. I don't believe he can string together 16 games. I believe as long as he doesn't have to top out at the ceiling, but Skip, he just can't bottom out at the floor.
No.
We got to get Skip. We got to get something in the middle here. Because Cam was like you said, 397 against Seattle. Had that great game against Buffalo, and then we see him bottom out against some of these other teams. Like, no, we can't have that game.
Bottomed out, ranked 30th in QBR among 33 qualified.
No, that's not good.
33
no.
It's just not good enough.
Cam,
and Belichick knows it's not good
But
enough.
Skip, you know what? Cam has never been one of these QBR guys.
No.
He's never going to lighten the QB. He's never going to be like an Aaron Rodgers or a Patrick Mahomes, a guy that's going to be in like the 80s.
He was in the 80s that night at Seattle.
That 1 year. But you see,
no, just that night at Seattle.
Right.
397, and he.
And I don't think he did he win the QB thing when he won the MVP? But I know he was high. He was high up.
QBR does not love him. I will agree.
But
because he does subtle things,
right.
like he'll make a play here or there, but they don't add up to a good QBR.
Right. But Skip, it's just like I said, and what I've seen is like when Cam does something. Now, Scott Zolak, who's their color guy, he's talking about Cam dancing at practice and playing the rap music. Well, somebody propped the thing where they had Tom Brady listen to rap music at practice and dancing.
I don't doubt it at all.
But now all of a sudden it's an issue. It ain't no.
By the way, Scott Zolak apologized.
Yeah. Because he know he was out of pocket.
He was completely out of line.
Skip, we didn't have.
He also said he called Cam and they discussed it and that they're cool. But go ahead.
The only time we had practice, only time we had music at practice, Skip, that was the crowd noise. On Thursday and Friday, they would have loud, try to simulate the crowd noise. We didn't have, like they have it now. It seemed like everybody listened to the music doing pregame, and we never had that. We just had the crowd noise getting ready for when we hit on the road. I mean, I would have loved it. It didn't bother me. Winning and losing, it comes from winning and losing. It's not, and that's how coaches, Skip. You know how coaches is. If they caught you sitting on your helmet, that's why we lost. Then the team didn't know we were sitting on that helmet at practice. They didn't know the locker room was dirty. What they got to do with us winning and losing? We lost because we didn't play as well as the other team. That's why we lost the ball game. But sometimes people equate, well, you did this, that's why you lost.
Okay.
I don't think that's a correlation. Not for me.
Okay, so you believe Cam will start game one.
I do.
How many games do you believe, sitting right here, right now, that he will start this season?
He's going to start at least the first 7. Because they're going at least the first 7. I got them 5-2 the first 7.
Okay, so you think he's going to get beaten out by Mac Jones after 7 games?
It all depends. Because the Coach Belichick will tell you take it game by game. But I want a 2-case bet right now on 5-2 through the first 7 games.
I'm not going to bet you on that.
Whoa.
What should be. Okay, so if Cam's 5-2, he's going to lose his job? I don't get the logic of that.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
That's 5-2. You still got 10 games to go.
Okay.
So what happens if he go 0-5 the next 5 games?
Well, is he going to go 0-5?
I don't know.
That's
but
like negative thinking. Do you think Belichick's saying, we'll go 5-2 with Cam, then we'll start to go 0-5?
No.
Well,
Skip,
at 0-5,
no. Skip,
you're gone. Your season's over.
He's not thinking like that. But the season's going to happen. It's going to progress. So what happens if they start losing games?
Well, are they? You think
they're going 17-0.
Okay, but you think Cam is better right now than Mac Jones, so why shouldn't he start 17 games and end up winning, 11? You said the other day 11.
Skip, just because someone is better, you don't get to maintain your job just because you're better if we're losing and we can put somebody else in. Give the other guy a chance to see what he can do. Maybe he can stem the tide. We've seen that happen before.
Yeah, see Tom Brady, right?
No, but Drew got hurt. Who knows? Hopefully, knock on wood, Cam doesn't get hurt. But you can't say, Skip, well, he goes 5-2, he should keep his job. No. Cam understands. Basically, this is a game-by-game situation.
Does your 5-2 include a Sunday night win over?
I said 5-2.
Well, I don't know who your 2 are.
Now, why you care? 5-2 is 5-2.
Okay, well, let's just do this.
No, we're not going to do nothing. Nope.
Let's do 5 cases on Sunday night, Tom Brady versus Cam Newton. Nope. I got Brady.
No.
Cam's always played great.
You see what you try to do? I offered you a bet. You can't change, Skip. You can't go to Vegas and play blackjack and try to change the rules.
I know, but we got to jump to the conclusion of this. All that anybody cares about is Cam versus Brady in the 4th game.
I said the first 7 games, they're going to be 5-2. What you try to do is try to finagle your way out of that 5-2.
I'm not finagling.
Okay,
I'm just going to the top of the pops here, man. I'm going to let's go Brady against Cam, because you say Cam's going to be the starter.
Yep.
So if you have that much confidence in him, you should take New England.
I do. I got 5-2. for 2 cases.
Okay, I wouldn't take that back because they got some gimmies. To
They
start.
ain't got no gimme. Oh, so the NFL is not gimmies, huh?
Well, the
Cowboys is a gimme. That's a gimme for
Did
sure.
you tell me it's Dolphins and somebody else?
Dolphins, Jets, Saints,
Okay,
Patriots.
well, there's 2-0
Texans,
right there.
Cowboys.
They got Texans in
Yep.
there? Okay, there's 3 out of 5.
And
Way
the
to go.
Cowboys.
Boy, you're way out on the limb on
Cowboys
this one. Yeah.
and the Jets.
Okay, and they got Jets twice.
Yep.
Right?
And the Cowboys.
Okay.
And I told you, that's everybody looking at the Cowboys. They're looking at the Jets, Cowboys.
You're
like the
already
same.
predicting that they're going to lose to Brady. That's what you just
I didn't know.
predicted.
No mercy.
NFL Network released the final 10 players of their top 100 list over the weekend, and Patrick Mahomes took the top spot for the first time in his young career. The 25-year-old led Kansas City to its 2nd straight Super Bowl appearance, and meanwhile, Tom Brady, whose Bucs beat the Chiefs in Super Bowl 55, came in at number 7 on the list. Shannon, did they get this right?
Skip, I'm surprised that they had Mahomes number 1. I actually thought they would have Aaron Rodgers 1, Patrick Mahomes 2, Aaron Donald 3. But I knew these was going to be the 3 top quarterbacks, which would be Mahomes, Rodgers, and Brady. I knew they were going to be the top 3 quarterbacks, followed by Josh Allen. I just had to I didn't get the order correctly, but I knew those were going to be the top 3 guys. And for me, I thought Rodgers had his. And for me, Skip, this is not about what you've done in the past or what you might do in the future. This is last year. And I thought Aaron Rodgers had a better season than Patrick Mahomes. Now, we know what Patrick Mahomes is, but I thought he had a better season, 48-4. I think he had like 4,600 passing yards. And so, for me, I don't think they got this right because I would have put Aaron Rodgers first. I would have put Patrick Mahomes second. But yo guy down in 7th. And I just saw a thing on ESPN. They say the top player for 2021, yo guy all the way down at 20.
But this was players who picked this.
Yeah,
Right?
so you know the players know. See,
Players don't know.
Yeah, don't do that, Skip. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. All I'm saying is, Skip, this is what you got to look at. Tom Brady can throw the ball, but there have been very few times where you look at like, man, did you see that throw Tom made? Aaron Rodgers throwing off his back foot 50 yards, dropping it in the bucket. Mahomes parallel or throwing a no-look pass. Those are what the players see.
Oh.
And the players are like, that's it. I've seen enough. I've seen enough.
Really? I saw Tom throw a couple on Saturday night that just took my breath away. Could we see those just quickly, the 2 passes to Chris Godwin Saturday night? I
saw Mac Jones make that same throw.
Really? Not with this mustard.
Yeah, he did.
This
For the
is Tom
touchdown.
Brady. That's got some rifle shot on it, man. And then he throws it to Godwin again. This is the first one. And then he throws it to Godwin again. Oh, what a sweet throw that was for a touchdown.
That's
looks
the
like,
same throw Mac Jones throw for a touchdown in the 3rd quarter. That's Mac Jones throw to the other guy. The same inside seam.
So you think Mac Jones is better than Tom Brady?
Ah, there you go.
Okay, so here's the point of what I see statistically here. I'm just looking in QBR, my favorite stat. It tells all about quarterbacks. And guess who was 3rd in the league last year was Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. He was 3rd behind Aaron Rodgers and Deshaun Watson. 4th on that list was Patrick Mahomes. So just in pure QBR, Tom outplayed Patrick.
The players didn't think so.
I saw him head-to-head at Tampa sort of 2/3 the way through the year. Remember that?
And what happened?
And what happened? Tom outplayed him the last 3 quarters of that game. He put up much better
Game
numbers.
is 4 quarters, though.
Okay, but in the first quarter, Tyreek went crazy and had over 200 yards receiving in the first quarter.
Who threw the ball?
Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
And he was wide open. It was just like, I don't know why. Don't you cover that guy?
Patrick Mahomes had more yards passing in the first half than Tom Brady had for the entire game.
And I watched Tom Brady outplay Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. I don't know. Maybe I get a new TV. I got black and white.
I'm glad you brought that up. So let me ask you this question. I want the people at home.
Yep.
If I were to flip Patrick Mahomes and I put him in Tampa in the Super Bowl, do you think Tom Brady behind the offensive line that Kansas City possessed, do you think Tom Brady beats Patrick Mahomes?
I absolutely. He gets rid of the ball fast. Patrick can't. He doesn't know how to get rid of the ball. He's got to make the highlight throw. He's got to hit the home
You don't even
run.
believe that? Because this is
I
what,
do believe
Skip,
that.
Think about what we saw.
Remember Joey Bosa in the playoffs saying, just get rid of it so fast.
Remember we saw Aaron Donald?
Yeah.
Remember we saw Chicago? Remember the first 2 games against New Orleans when they put that pressure on him? Why he didn't get the ball away so quick then?
Okay, now speaking of Aaron Donald, I ask you this question. straight from the heart, I want to know, if you let the Rams executives right now, all the way up to the owner, if you gave them a choice for the next 2 years, you could have Tom Brady or Aaron Donald, who would they take?
That don't mean he'd skip.
It's just not even close. They'd say, thank you, God, we got a shot.
Here's the thing.
They would take Tom Brady over Matthew Stafford any day, any night, any Thursday, Sunday, Monday.
Skip. The quarterback is the more valuable position. But Aaron Donald, the gap between Aaron Donald and the next best defensive tackle is greater than any other position. If you say Rodgers is the best quarterback, the gap between, you say Mahomes, the gap is not as big as it is with Aaron Donald and the next DT.
I give you that. And it means what? It means zero.
That means he's
in this debate, in this ranking, you cannot put Brady below him because Brady's more valuable.
But see, it's not valuable. They said the top 100, the best players, not the most valuable. Once they start doing value, then okay, I'll give you Tom Brady.
How can it not be valuable?
Player.
Okay, Derrick Henry. Right now, if you gave Tennessee a choice, next 2 years, 3 years, you want Derrick Henry or Tom Brady?
Value.
They'd be, please God, give us Tom Brady. Value is what I'm saying.
Best player.
Okay, player how? The best player is Tom Brady.
So by that notion,
he can do things Derrick Henry never thought about doing.
By that notion, any quarterback, regardless how good or bad he is better than any defensive tackle.
No.
Any wide receiver. Why not?
Some aren't very good.
His value is greater than a defensive tackle by your logic.
But a great quarterback is better than a great running back just by my logic, just simply. But in this case, Derrick Henry, I love Derrick Henry. I love Aaron Donald. I believe in what they do at their positions.
Right.
Their positions are limited in the impact they can have on a football game's
That
outcome.
doesn't limit their impact on how great a player they are. The value, sure, but as being a great player, it has no impact on that.
Okay, so I look at what Tom Brady did in the postseason, and it's just staggering to me because he was sensational, and he outplayed Aaron Rodgers twice. Once in the regular season, albeit in Tampa, and then he goes up to Lambeau, and Rodgers stinks it up in the fourth quarter in a game that counts, and he falls to 1-4 in NFC Championship games. And you're telling me
I don't believe
better than Tom Brady? I didn't see it last year.
The players saw it.
Okay, well, do they watch every game?
Yeah,
I don't think they do.
They watch enough.
Okay,
they watch enough. And they watch their own film. And it says it's harder to prepare for Aaron Rodgers, it's harder to prepare for Patrick Mahomes than Tom Brady. That's what they said.
Yeah, but then the outcome, they look at the scoreboard and they say, God, he did it to us again. I don't know how he did it.
That's Mahomes.
It sounds a little bit like jealousy.
You see what you do? Anytime Tom Brady is not in number one, everybody's jealous. Skip.
Somebody's got to defend him.
There's nothing to defend. Tom Brady is a standalone.
Oh, is he?
Yes, he's
standing alone at 7.
Skip, just because, Skip, see, you want to make it about a lifetime of achievement.
No, I don't.
I'm
talking about last year. I'm talking about last year.
Nope.
Who won the Super Bowl?
See, that's the whole, but here's the thing.
Who's the Super Bowl MVP?
Skip.
I don't know.
No, Tampa Bay's defense. That's what Collinsworth, hold on. What did Collinsworth say last night?
I don't know.
You heard him? Tampa defense won the Super Bowl. That's what he said. If it's a lie, he told it. I'm just speaking behind him. I shouldn't do that. But anyway, all I'm saying is Patrick Mahomes, my homeboy, number 1. Your guy, number 7.
Well, he was 4th in QBR and Tom Brady was 3rd. Thank you.
Player vote. That's
You a hater, Skip. At some point,
No mercy.
Odell Beckham Jr. got social media all fired up with this catch during warm-ups last night. Cleveland took off last season once OBJ got hurt, so everyone is excited to see him back with Baker this season. Shannon, how will he fit back in with the Browns offense?
He'll fit fine. Odell just needs to be healthy.
Can he do that in a game?
No, Skip, bad coach will lose his mind. Coach gonna lose his mind. He do that in the game. But look, this is a run-first base football team. It's gonna be Kareem Hunt. It's gonna be Nick Chubb, and then they play action offense.
Most dynamic duo in football.
And Skip, they loaded offensively. Offensive line is solid.
Best
running game, yes, and receivers. So I'm expecting big things from the Browns. It's all going to be on Baker, though, Skip.
I remind you, they went on a roll last year, including Baker, without Odell.
Might have went to the Super Bowl. They had Odell.
Really? You think so?
Might have.
Well, they might not have gone on the roll with Odell. So he's the X factor to me because on paper they're the best team in the AFC right now. And can he blend back in? Can he find a quiet role in this team? I have my doubts.
Did Kansas City move to the NFC?
I already picked them to get to the Super Bowl. I'm just telling you what I see.
That don't mean they're the best
team. Better add to instead of detract from.
Did Patrick Mahomes retire all of a sudden?
Well, yeah.
No, he didn't. But I'm expecting big things. I talked to Odell the other day. He said, I'm healthy.
So
and that's all I need.
You got real objectivity, right?
All I want him to be is healthy. And the results will speak for themselves.
Okay.
If healthy, he could be
I hope
dangerous.
so.
Okay, guys, great stuff today. That is it for Undisputed. We're back same time tomorrow morning. Hurt is next. Have a great day.
Undisputed.